Hello, everybody, and welcome to part two of my health policy analysis. This analysis was based off of the Disability Integration Act of 2019. So the identifying information for this bill, it is a House of Representatives bill, so it's HR 555. This bill was sponsored by Representative James F. Sensenbrenner, who's a Republican from Wisconsin. He introduced this bill as an addition to the Americans with Disabilities Act in 1990. There are currently 237 co-sponsors, so that makes up about 220 Democrats and 17 Republicans. This bill was also referred to two subcommittees, the House Subcommittee of Energy and Commerce and the House Subcommittee of the Judiciary. There are two main goals of this policy. So the first goal is to clarify and strengthen the ADA's integration mandate to help simplify the regulations so states can interpret better and create more opportunities for individuals to access the community. The second is the need for affordable and accessible housing for individuals separate from the community-based services. There are also five other goals that encompass these two main goals to further establish regulations that ensure individuals with disabilities will be receiving the quality community-based services setting. The policy history and development. So again, in 1990, the Americans with Disabilities Act was initially enacted to help those individuals with disabilities liberate some of their limitations or discriminations of accessing the community. In 2018, around May, Representative Sensenbrenner introduced the Disability Integration Act proposed to the 115th Congress, which eventually died because it was introduced late in the calendar year. In January of 2019, the Disability Integration Act was reintroduced to the 116th Congress, which is at its current position right now. In 2019, again, the bill was also referred to those two House committees. The interested players and actors. So the formal actors have the direct ability to influence and implement this bill. So those actors are Representative Sensenbrenner, who's the sponsor of this bill. Then you have the 237 co-sponsors, the Committee of Energy and Commerce, the Committee of Judiciary, the House of Representatives, and then the United States Senate also has an identical bill that they're reviewing in the Senate. The informal actors have an indirect influence on this bill, but can influence the formal actors to support the bill. So I put myself on there as a student advocate. The Voice of Reason is the opposition coalition that do not want this bill to become implemented. The DIA Facebook group that has about 2,000 followers that is gaining increasing support as we speak. Then we have the AARP, which is a national organization that supports this group. There's about 888 total group supporters. Of those 888, there are 227 national organizations and 661 state and local organizations. The policy analysis. So this policy is actually underneath the statutory level of policy, which is underneath the United States Code. So it's considered highly visible because it has been presented at the federal level to both the House of Representatives and the United States Senate. This bill is also classified as a distributive policy, making it easily defined to particular groups that are benefiting from this bill. The obstacles to this bill are there's a lack of bipartisan support. There's also a time constraint due to the recent events that are happening in Congress and the Senate of the impeachment process. Also, this bill is losing time because the congressional calendar year is about to end, so this bill will most likely die again. And then there's also an economic aspect of this bill. It will need an increase in funding to community-based services and staffing, but the bill does not clearly state how much funding is needed, so it can cause a chaotic process in the two committees that are reviewing the funding for the bill. And then there's also some strategies that have been used to overcome these obstacles. So there's been online postcards, there's also been a petition. Uh, I've also made a Facebook group, and I'm also in the process of trying to get onto a radio show and talk about the bill and speak on behalf of the bill. The driving forces for this bill is the cultural, which this the influence that the care worker has on skill development for an individual is very important. So being a care worker is very difficult. If the care worker is unmotivated to help the individual develop the skills, it may hinder the internal motivation of this individual. There's also the interpersonal skills of the individual, which if they are stuck in the long-term disability facility, they may be deprived of some of the occupations that they could receive at the community-based setting. And then there's also the professional construct. OT is not in the bill yet, so we're trying to support the addition of occupational therapy because depending on the function of the individual, the OT can develop interventions that will create skills to help them successfully transition into their community. Then we have some additional resources. So we have the website, the Facebook group, the correspondence of the bill, which I'll be showing you guys right now. So here's the website that we have. So it shows you the support that they can, the bill can give. It has fact sheets, legislation, the different House and Senate type bills, and then the different sponsors of the bill, and then you have the co-sponsors, the news and media and the blogs. So this really helps gain information and knowledge on the bill to the community. Then we have the Disability Integration Act Facebook group. So as you can see, there's 235 people following this. So this also gives you a quick look at who's posting in the bill and who's been active on supporting the bill. And I have my petition, which I've had about 34 signatures and counting. I've also posted this to multiple occupational therapy pages. And then we have Representative Sensenbrenner's press release to show why he reintroduced it and the drive that he used to introduce this bill. So we'll move back to the PowerPoint here. Slideshow, current slide. Right. Moving into the application of OT, this bill is directly related to the occupational therapy profession. We can play a vital role in helping these individuals successfully transition into the community. So that's how OT can impact this bill. Why is the addition of OT so important to this bill? Because we can provide group and individual sessions that will help those affected by the bill in order to help them reach their highest potential of success in the community. So these sessions can even be interpersonal skill sessions, advocacy, educated type, educational type groups that will help these individuals develop those skills in order to be able to be independent to their potential. What ways can OT impact the bill or individuals transitioning? Like I said, those groups, and then this also can impact the occupational therapy profession as a whole because the long-term facilities can create the screening tools that could create more turnover for them, meaning that they can admit more of these of the individual with disabilities and then screen them to see if they could transition into community because you're not going to transition the individual right after you screen them. It's going to be a whole process, so you could start the process earlier in the long-term facilities and move more into the community-based services at the end there. They can do more of those interprofessional skills. And then for community-based services, this will increase positions to occupational therapists, SLPs, PTs, life skills coaching, and this could potentially be due to the anticipated influx of individuals with disabilities transitioning into the facilities. And then to end, overall, this bill can impact OT and individuals with disabilities. The way it can impact OT is it can create jobs, and then we can also use some of those skills that we may not be able to use in some of the other settings in order to help the individuals in the community. And then the individuals with disabilities will actually benefit from this transition because we can start the transition in the long-term care facilities and move them and continue with them in the community-based living facilities. Thank you for watching and have a great day, guys.